WrestleMania 35 week continues here on the GoodMicWork channel. What's going on, everybody? I am back for another watch-along. I was up here yesterday doing a reaction to the main event of WrestleMania 20. I decided to do 3 classic WrestleMania match watch-alongs during WrestleMania week, all of which were nominated by you guys on Twitter. And these were the matches that I saw recommended the most, and that's why I decided to do them. Plus, I thought they would all be really fun. So I want to thank you guys for some great suggestions. Today, one of my favorite WrestleMania matches of all time, WrestleMania 13. From this pay-per-view right here that I have on VHS, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret the Hitman Hart in a submission match. And I have extremely fond memories of this time. 1997 was one of my favorite years ever in WWE. Things were really starting to get cooking around this time. They started turning the corner around the time of WrestleMania 13 with Austin getting on the map, and this absolutely brilliant match that none of us really thought was going to be that great. And it turned out to be one of the greatest matches in WrestleMania history, and it really helped steer the ship towards the Attitude Era. You know, Stone Cold Steve Austin walked out of this match as a babyface, and 1 year later, he would be beating Shawn Michaels for the title. So it kind of all started here. This was a big deal, and this was one of the weaker WrestleManias, but this match really made up for it, made this a really solid pay-per-view. So, as usual, I'm going to give you the timestamp to go to. I'm going to put it right over my head here. Fire up your WWE Network, pull up WrestleMania 13, and go to the 1 hour, 20 minute, and 54 second mark. That's right about halfway through the pay-per-view. And that will catch you right after the video package. I'm also going to put a screenshot up of what my screen looks like on the WWE Network, so you can just match up your screen and make sure your timer is paused at 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 54 seconds. Timer will be down below as well for you to follow along if you want to pause or skip ahead or anything like that. The timer will help you do that. So hopefully during this time of me rambling, you've pulled up WrestleMania 13 on the network and we're ready to rock and roll with Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart. I'm going to give you guys a countdown like I normally do, and we're going to hit play together. In 3, 2, 1, play. And we've got the WrestleMania song playing, and Howard Finkel appears to be introducing Ken Shamrock. Sorry, I'm trying not to bump the desk here. God, Kenny was jacked, was he not? Jesus Christ. I wouldn't fuck with that guy. Kind of a weird, maybe not weird, but I thought that his involvement in this was almost unnecessary because Bret and Steve had such amazing chemistry and they had such a good thing going. I didn't think you really needed Shamrock in this, but it's a submission match. He's a UFC guy. It's a good way to introduce him, I suppose. But I remember at the time kind of wondering why he was even out there. I love this entrance by Steve. That Austin 316 shattering. Look at that. Austin's entrance and his departure from this match are 2 of my favorite that he's ever had. There was such an amazing story told at the end here, which we'll talk about, but it was a week before this. It was on the Go Home Raw that Bret snapped in that cage match with Sid, shoved Vince McMahon, started dropping F-bombs, or not F-bombs, but he was saying shit and goddamn and all that stuff on the USA Network. He punched Pat Patterson. I mean, technically Bret was a heel 6 days prior to this, but this match is still considered to be the double turn. But really, Bret went heel on Raw just a few days before. I'll never forget that. I have that unedited version in my collection. I taped it off USA Network that night. This is bullshit. Oh my God. What a promo. Look how young Austin is in this. Got a 34-year-old Austin right there. Maybe 33. Not sure how old he was at the time of this show, but I'm guessing early 30s, mid-30s. Younger than I am now. Oh, do I love this guy. I was still Team Bret. I mean, even though Bret had turned technically on Raw, and he was about to turn full-blown here, And he would do even more the next night. The next night on Raw, he'd cut that long promo, giving shit to the fans. I think I have a cat chomping on food in the background there. I apologize. I meant to put the food away. Here comes Bret. You're not making too much noise over there, are you? Bret Hart's making his entrance. Of course, you're making a ton of noise. Hey, now get off. Trying to watch wrestling. We can't have you chomping on food. When you're trying to have a YouTube channel inside of a one-bedroom condo with 2 cats, it ain't easy. All right, here, match is underway. Austin immediately attacks. Great start, and these guys go all over the arena here. God, immediately on the outside of the ring. Austin had a bum knee at this point. I think he aggravated that at the Final Four pay-per-view the month before. And there was even some concern, I believe, that maybe he wouldn't make the match. But he did. And when you look at this match, as good as it gets... Ooh, what a post shot. Man, did he eat that. Nice. Without the immense amount of blood that we would see at the end, how good would this match have been, you know? That was just a great story. Bret gets crotched right away on the... I love Vince on commentary for this, too. Look at Captain Lou. Who we got in the front row there? Captain Lou, Tony Atlas, the bowl haircut kid. Holy shit. I recognize that security guard, the big black guy with the backwards hat. I remember seeing him back in the day. I think I met him once, too. Shamrock holding the people back. Or he was a cameraman, not a security guard. Excuse me. Austin having a little drink. That guy, I feel bad for him. They were brawling right in front of a guy with like a plate of nachos. He's trying to like protect his nachos. Don't hurt his nachos, y'all. You don't want to just be spilling nachos. Especially $26 nachos like you're likely to find in a arena. It really does, JR. It does resemble a bar fight. They are all up in the crowd. I remember this went on for quite a while. Their Survivor Series match was incredible. Bret's return match in '96. Faced Austin in the Garden. What's he doing? Going for a pile driver? Jesus. Pile driver on the steps? Ooh. Steve got backdropped hard. There's Shamrock still out there. Yeah, that's right. They had the Chicago Street Fight on this pay-per-view. I like that one. That was LOD and Ahmed against the Nation. That was good. I thought that match was an underrated match. I thought Ahmed looked amazing with those shoulder spikes when he came out. One of my few good Ahmed Johnson memories. I really liked him the first year or so of his career, and then after that it was all downhill for him. Look at Bret on the top of that railing. Jesus. That's a lame kind of forearm. Shortly after this, too, would be the great Monday Night Raw. Bret would injure his knee and have to get a little surgery done, I believe. Oof. gnarly stairs bump there by Bret, but Bret would end up getting hurt, have to have some surgery done on his knee, and they did the angle on Raw where they had the brawl between Austin and Bret, and Austin was waiting in the ambulance for him. Oh my God, great shit. Some excellent Monday Night Raws around this time. The months of March through, I'd say, September of 1997 were unreal. Much better than Nitro at that time, even though they were losing in the ratings. Oh, Austin with a almost kind of tripped over himself there, falling backwards with those stairs. God, Bret. Jesus Christ. That was a cool thing about Bret. I mean, he was smooth and had a lot of finesse, but man, could he pound the shit out of you. You know, Shawn Michaels was smooth and had finesse, but you never looked at Shawn like a tough guy that could just hammer you into the ground. Bret could just beat the shit out of you if he wanted to. And he was brutal and vicious. The matches he had with Diesel a couple of years before this, he's fighting a guy twice his size and he's the aggressor. Hitting him with chairs and shit. You didn't mess with Bret. That's why him and Steve worked so perfectly together. Because they were both just tough as nails. I like that neck breaker. Sweet. And this was before the pile driver too, so Austin could really move back then. He could do a lot of selling. He would take a lot of back bumps and stuff, and you didn't see that after the match with Owen. But I'm happy that Bret and Austin got a few matches in while Austin was at his best. I would have loved to see these guys wrestle in like 95. I would have liked to see Austin as like or 94, like Austin come over as U.S. champion in WCW and face Bret Hart. Those would have been some great matches. That was the first appearance, I believe, of Austin's knee brace. There goes Bret. Go to work on that leg. It's kind of ironic, too, that Austin, you know, it's a shoot injury to his knee. Like, he really does have a bad knee. And Bret's submission just happens to be the sharpshooter, and Bret notoriously works the leg on every opponent that he works with. So it worked out for him. Austin could have hurt his elbow or something, but no, it was his knee. The one body part you don't want to hurt if you're about to enter a WrestleMania match with Bret Hart, or any match with Bret. Make sure your wheels are 100% because Bret's going to work on them. Bret came down on his ass. Wow, stunner. Stunner early. That's right, no pinfall. I always laughed that this match was made. Like, it completely favors Bret. Why the hell is this a submission match? When the hell did Austin ever do any submissions? I mean, even the million dollar dream is not a submission. It's a sleeper hold. Oh, is he doing the figure? I love this. Bret had just started doing this figure four on the ring step thing. Or maybe this was the first night they did it. Announcers are marking out for it. I just thought this was such a clever move, and Bret would go on to use this a few times. And hell, this counts, right? He can submit in the ring post. If that wasn't the first time Bret did that move, he had only done it maybe once before. He would put this move on Shawn Michaels, I think, the next night on Raw, I think. Bret would have a busy night. He'd be out for the main event later on, too. Fucking around in that. Interrupting it. Oh, look at Mark Eaton there, the timekeeper. Bret's got the bell. And a chair. No, get that chair. There you go. That one makes a louder noise. This match does have, I think, one of the hardest and most underrated chair shots ever delivered. Austin gives one to Bret here in a little bit that's just sick. Sick. It's going to Brian Pillman Austin's ankle. Why Bret goes to the top here, I have no idea. I think Austin gets out of this. Yeah, he's already got the chair. Look out, Bret. Awesome. Man, did that crowd pop for that. It is WrestleMania, baby. This is the chair shot I'm talking about coming up here. Watch out, Bret. Bret's going to be on his all fours here. God damn. Hurts just watching that. Man, Austin is not playing games now. Vicious. So take that. Oh, I thought Bret was going to take that sternum first buckle bump that he always takes. I mean, if Austin doesn't have any submissions, he should just get the chair and just keep wailing away on Bret with it until he... Look at this. That replay of that chair shot is just incredible. Just keep beating him with a chair until Bret gives up. Austin and Bret both used the second rope elbow. They both frequently used it. I think Bret's was a hair better, but Austin delivered a pretty solid one. Oh, that's Bret's daughter. Which one is that, I wonder? Maybe it was Beans. That might be Beans' Hart. Ashley, I think, is a little bigger. There you go, Austin. Look at Austin pulling that move out of his arsenal. Shamrock in his little spandex shorts. Stu! Stu's in the house too?
Yeah, Steve is, think he's submission, but my Bret is better at submission. I'm gonna make a cookbook and call it, beef stew.
How's my stew? I don't have a very good stew. Now Austin with the Boston Crab. Look at him. Yeah, this was still kind of before the days of the tap out. A lot of guys weren't tapping out around this time. It was more of just saying I quit, verbally saying I quit. Tap outs didn't start happening for a few more years, I don't think. At least in WWE. You just didn't see them very often. He's going to put the sharpshooter on him. Yeah, well, if anybody knows how to counter that, it's Bret. Thumb to the eye will do it. I missed the red, white, and blue ropes. Oh, Bret is sent to the outside. This might be the guardrail bump coming up here. Or Austin is going to bleed ever so slightly. Still some boos for Steve here. Mid-match. There goes Austin. I still don't know where Austin actually did the blade job. I think Bret might have done it for. I think Bret said in his book that he was the one that cut Steve. God, look at that. Jesus Christ. It might be what we see later on, might be my all-time favorite WrestleMania visual. That just iconic shot of Austin. The blood coming down his teeth. Oh my God. Austin, I'll tell you, man, he could take some post shots, man. He made that shit look good. Sometimes I think when you have no hair, it's hard to kind of disguise the blow a little bit, but Austin, God, he is literally squirting blood out of his head. Jesus Christ. Bret just going to work. Hmm. Can't remember the story on this, if there was any fines involved for this blood, or if this was all planned, or if Bret just kind of did it on his own. He has a history of doing that. Him and Piper did it a few years earlier. Bret Hart just hit a sweet backbreaker. And the second rope elbow. God, now Bret's got the chair. See what I mean? He's going to go right after this knee, and he bam. Like, Bret was just vicious. Absolutely vicious. And look at Austin selling that. I want to go back to these days. I was in my 20s. I say Bret's going for the sharpshooter. I don't think it's time yet. Austin is able to break it. There's just blood all over that ring. Bret hammering away in the corner. God, Austin could sell. There you go. Dick Kick City, baby. Down there around Saskatoon. Should be up there around Saskatoon. Saskatoon's north as shit. Well, maybe not for Canada. I guess it is south. Jesus. Austin is a stud. I ain't gonna argue with that, JR. There's that bump. Man, I don't know how Bret took that on a nightly basis. God, that's gnarly. Oh, now he's stomping Bret to death in the corner. Here we go. Mudhole is right. Now Austin's picking up steam, man. I remember marking out for this match. I ordered this on pay-per-view. I was living in an apartment, sat there with my roommate and another friend, and we watched this. Still have the original broadcast on VHS. Superplex, my God. Damn, Austin. You can hear Vince is almost like apologizing. It doesn't happen often here in the World Wrestling Federation. Well, it should happen often, Vince. Ha, did you see Austin wipe his head on the turnbuckle? Oh, yeah, this is the finish, I think. He's got the microphone cord. If I had one regret about this match, it's the spot we're about to see here. I think the bell shot to the head was a little weak. But he's got this electrical cable and he's trying to wrap it around the throat of Bret. It's not a murder match, it's a submission match. Bret's got the bell. Ding! Austin is down. Here comes Sharpshooter. Oh my God. Crowd's marking out. Look at all that blood. God. Austin's going to make one last gasp here. Look at that coming down his face. Unreal. What a visual. What a shot. What a still shot. And he breaks the sharpshooter, right? I think he full on breaks it. He does, but Bret holds on. Took every last bit of strength he had, but he... And plus, if they would have had Austin submit here, it would have totally changed the trajectory of his career, too. Like, this was the perfect finish to a perfect match. It really was. Shamrock said he's going to stop the fight if he doesn't answer. And that's it. No, what's interesting is Bret was in 2 I Quit matches at WrestleMania, and he never really got what he wanted out of either one. Backlund didn't say I quit either. He's like, yeah, and Piper called for the bell, and Austin just passed out. Interesting. Just I love the Austin just laying there like that. He's not moving at all, laying in a pool of his own blood. Look at that. Get some doctors out here. I mean, Austin is unconscious. Bret had Austin's number, beat him at Survivor and Mania. No, now he's going after his knee. Oh yeah, Shamrock pulls him off. You got a good look at how truly powerful Kenny was, man. Had he not been holding on to Bret, Bret would have flown into the 3rd row, man. Even Bret, look at the look on his face. Like, holy shit. Yeah, you don't want to mess with this guy. Shamrock's like, come on. I remember being curious how Shamrock was going to translate into like a WWE environment. Like, he's like a badass fighter. The booze. Bret's flipping off fans as he's leaving and shit, man. He doesn't want to be helped. Oh, he's stunned. Who's that, Kyoto? Ooh, interesting sell on that stunner. Ouch. But that's what I loved about this finish. I loved that Austin insists on walking his ass back. Just the way he kind of hobbles around. It was perfectly done. Like, they had everything down. Like, they... Especially with this exit here by Austin. They didn't really make one mistake in this whole, like, execution of this thing. Austin chants, even the crowd did what they were supposed to do. Exactly, Vince. He'll go back and he'll take his pride with him. And that just of him going down the tunnel there. All the way down. Great shit, man. Yeah, and the announcers here putting him over. That was huge. And then the shot of the blood here on the canvas. Wow. Wow. He lost a couple of pints. Yeah. All right. Anyway, that is the end of WrestleMania 13. Watch along. Steve Austin versus Bret Hart. That was fun. That is one of my favorite matches ever in WrestleMania history. Truly a classic, man. That match changed the course of history. It put Steve on a meteoric rise, turned Bret heel, one of the most brilliant double turns that we've ever seen in the 100-plus year history of professional wrestling. Very, very, very well done, boys and girls. Anyway, that's it. That's a wrap on another watch-along here. The next watch-along will be hitting the channel this coming Saturday. Tomorrow, I will have up my WrestleMania 35 prediction, so keep a lookout for that. Thanks for hanging out and watching another classic WrestleMania match. I'll catch y'all real soon. Be good. Peace.